Welcome along. Britain is now the diversity and inclusion capital of the world. So while America's got this,
are only two genders, male and female.
we have got this.
Is it transphobic to say only women have a cervix?
Look, is it transphobic? Look.
Whilst President Trump orders all diversity and inclusion employees to be put on paid leave, we have got this.
No, it's just...
A woman can have a penis.
While Trump orders all diversity and inclusion departments to close, and we have a colour-blind, merit-based society, that's what he wants, we have got this.
Is it transphobic to say only women have a cervix, David?
I don't know if it's transphobic, but it's not accurate, Nick. I mean, obviously, it's probably the case that only that trans women don't have ovaries, but a cervix, I understand, is something that you can have following various procedures and hormone treatment and all the rest of it.
Let's cross back now to Trump's America.
This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life.
And back we come to Britain, where today MPs decided to discuss whether we should have more female footballers on birthday cards. Seriously. According to data from LinkedIn, UK organisations employ twice as many diversity and inclusion professionals per 10,000 employees than any country in the world. And we have the second largest number of diversity and inclusion professionals globally, behind America, but now obviously with the world leader, because Trump's just scrapped it all, hasn't he? We've got Westminster City Council posting a diversity, equality and inclusion job advert which discriminates against white applicants. They are looking for an individual who comes from a, quote, global majority background to become a permanent staff member with a starting salary of nearly 55 grand. They're using the Equality Act to do this, ironically. Apparently, Westminster Council needs to make £20 million worth of savings in the next financial year. I wonder why. Almost 15 million quid's worth of your money, taxpayers' money, has been spent on equality, diversity and inclusion roles in the UK's police forces since the beginning of 2021 to 2022 financial year. Almost 15 million quid of British taxpayers' money has been spent on diversity and inclusion in the police forces. So they can't solve burglaries, they can't solve rapes, they can't get knives off the street, ironically because stop and search is racist, but they can spaff nearly 15 million quid on diversity jobs. The NHS is advertising roles for diversity officers on between 80 and 100 grand. How many nurses will that pay for? Conwy County Council reportedly shut half of its public toilets due to lack of finances. But they could find the money for a £45,000 a year diversity job. In the civil service, diversity and inclusion employees are paid more than top trade officials. The BBC has advertised jobs that white people simply cannot apply for. This is madness. It's madness right across the police, the NHS, the civil service, local councils, the media, as it turns out. The priority has been diversity and inclusion. It's been all about race and ethnicity. Well, it's not been about quality, has it? Has the police force got better or worse? Has the NHS got better or worse? Has your council tax gone up or down? Has the civil service got more or less efficient? Britain is in decline. We need to grow up and get real. Put diversity and inclusion in the bin, hire the best candidate for the role based on merit and merit alone, and get Britain working again. Let's get the thoughts of my panel this evening. Director of Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood. We've got businessman and activist Adam Brooks. And we've also got writer and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. So, Mark, we are now, because of what Trump's just done, the diversity and inclusion capital of the world. Do you feel enriched?
Not at all. And it's not just a question of enrichment. I mean, you're right that money's wasted on this. A friend of mine's just texted me about a role that she saw for a Wiltshire NHS role, being the Equality and Diversity and Inclusion Manager to present 60 grand a year. Now, if you add it all up, it's not a colossal amount of money. We would not solve the national debt by cancelling it. But I think what you said, Patrick, is completely right. It's taken everybody's eyes off the ball.
Yeah.
So the police force, they'll have these, EDI officers hanging around. But it also has a chilling effect on all of those who are supposed to go out and police. And the same in the NHS. You've just shown our 3 leading cabinet ministers not knowing a bit of basic biology in order not to stand on a landmine. So it's not just the cost of it, which is woeful enough. It's the complete deflection that apparently we don't actually care about the quality of policing, the quality of healthcare, how fast our businesses are growing. What we care is about the diversity mix of the people at the top of it. Total disaster. Now, what's really interesting about what Trump's done is there is basically no opposition to it in America.
Yeah.
The Democrats have folded almost 100%. He's won. He hasn't just won the election, he's won this argument hands down. And I pray to God that our own government realises this, wakes up and smells the coffee before too long. Because if they are serious, which they keep saying, that they will go through the books and look at every penny they can save, well, you've just pointed out 15 million quid's worth of it. And if they don't do that, it's because they've got a different agenda.
I honestly think, Adam, that our obsession with diversity, inclusion and equality at the expense of quality is one of the leading factors behind Britain's decline.
Look, it's not just Britain's decline, it's the West. We have weakened ourselves to this virtual signalling nonsense. Where we've got the armed forces having to go along with this. That's putting national security at risk. You say the NHS, patients at risk, the police, they're weak enough. I look
Why
at
are patients being put at risk? Excuse me.
The
Can I
best
ask you?
person should be given the job, not because they tick a box.
How do you know that?
Well, I was asked, Nina,
adverts.
before I went for a CAT scan about whether I might be pregnant.
Yeah.
Now, that only took a minute of time.
Well, that is idiotic.
But you would clearly, that's still a minute of time wasted because of some mad diversity directive.
Is idiotic. But you talked about the police, and of course, the police were decimated under the Tories. The numbers were slashed. The point being, if you have a diversity officer within the police, what you're trying to do is to get more police officers who look like many of the young people who are likely to send away for knives. So they're more likely. They're more.
What they look like.
No,
because they're more. Their job, Nina.
They can do their job, but if you can have community policing, and if you have community policing where the policemen look like the communities.
Westminster Council, so Westminster Council is my council. I live under the jurisdiction of Westminster Council, right? So how is my life going to be bettered by the fact that we have someone from the, quotes, global majority working in an admin role in Westminster Council on 45 grand a year, 55 grand a year, actually? How does that better?
It doesn't.
What practical purpose does that serve, do you think?
It might not help you, but it might help an awful lot of other people who are looking for inclusion, who are looking for a more diverse society and a fairer society, because a lot of this started because it was unfair, and the system is still unfair.
Well, how about the best person for the job?
Okay, the best person. Okay, but when I started working as a woman, I was completely discriminated against. I was not allowed to join the pension scheme. I was paid 2/3 of what the bloke sitting next to me was paid, and only through sheer real fight and legal processes did that change.
But what's changed since the 1960s, when with Martin Luther King. And those, especially in America, were pointing out there was effectively a kind of soft, in some cases hard apartheid in America until the 1960s, is we should judge people by the content of their character, not the colour of their skin.
I agree.
That was Martin Luther King's rallying cry. Weirdly enough now, it seems to be the right of centre who are the Martin Luther King supporters, that you should be judged by the content of your character, and actually the lefties who think that you should be judged by the colour of your skin.
No,
that if you're from some particular racial background, you're better to do the filing.
No,
I'll tell you why that is.
It's unbelievable.
The left, and especially the Labour Party, believe they own ethnic minorities and the BAME communities. They believe...
Why do you say that? That's
because
such a
they do.
ridiculous thing
No,
to
it's
say.
not.
What do you mean they own them?
The Labour Party think that those communities must vote Labour.
No, nobody
yes,
thinks...
they do.
No, they do not.
I think, Jeremy Corbyn even said it in 2019.
Jeremy Corbyn is gone, dead and buried politically. Let's not even think. That's a long time ago. The Labour Party has changed a great deal.
The way I see this Labour Party going, and people like Keir Starmer, and Rachel Reeves can't even say what a woman is. I wouldn't be surprised in 5 years if I have to have a trans barman or a barmaid, in my pub. It's crazy, and I look at America and I'm jealous. I wish I was living there right now.
Nina, can I just say one thing? Anecdotally, right? I had a bloke stop me on the tube today, and he said to me, "Oh, it's great, isn't it?" And I said, "What is?" And he said, the first words out of Trump's mouth were something like, "The golden age of America awaits. Yeah. I have been saved by God to make America great again." Now, you can say, all right, maybe that's for you, that's just guff. But it's optimism. Then he goes, no more blokes in women's changing rooms. You will get a job now based on merit and merit alone. What's wrong with that?
But jobs are given on merit. They are.
You haven't seen the adverts, clearly. We've got the army has put out adverts where white people can't apply. Or the NHS. We've seen it with our own eyes, Nina.
Was to strongly encourage a person of a particular race to go for that job. It's feasible a white person could get it, but very unlikely.
Yeah.
Could be no more explicit in the advertisement
we don't want
that your race was a defining aspect of getting this job, which was filing the accounts in somewhere or other. No Westminster Council taxpayer gives a damn whether the person doing that is black, white, tall, short, gay, straight, or anything else. It should be based on merit, and it wasn't.
It is based on
race.
Go on, Nina. Go on.
The thing is, life has been very, very unfair. It is not balanced. 3.6% of whites are out of work. 13.9% of non-whites are out of work. That is an imbalance, surely.
1 in 12 people in London are here illegally, but that sounds of things as well. We just broke that story earlier on, but
you're now quoting stats tonight, a bit like Adam's quoted them about different groups doing different things.
No.
Look, if there's a particular racial community or ethnic community or religious community that's not getting on in the world, let's address that. Let's make sure that they work harder, train harder.
Well, exactly.
Let's not place adverts for them to become filing clerks at Westminster City Council because they're of a particular racial description.
I believe, I might be wrong, that the Somalian community is one of the most unemployed.
Disproportionately.
Disproportionately unemployed. Are you saying that that's because they can't get jobs, or is it maybe that they don't want the jobs, Nina?
Why are you saying they don't want jobs?
No, I'm asking you.
I have no idea, but why would you assume that they don't want to...
How do you account for the differences in employment rates?
Well, maybe they don't speak English. They should be encouraged to speak English.
That's a rather important point of doing the job.
Exactly. So what we're looking for is an integrated society where everybody plays their part.
You told me if I went to Spain the other week, I should learn how to speak Spanish. So those Somalians should learn to speak English.
That's exactly what I've said.
The reason they're out of work is that they are not sufficiently capable of doing the job.
No, not necessarily. There could be many reasons. There could be many. I don't know why they're out of. But I'm not just saying. So you're not 13.9% is Somali. It's not
on every council to assist them.
They do need. We do need to assist people to integrate, to learn the language, to play their part, to work hard and pay taxes and be part of society.
I was a resident of Conwy in Wales, and I'd seen 45%, I think it was, of my public toilets closing due to a lack of funds, and goodness knows whatever else. There's probably a few potholes that haven't been filled in and all of that stuff. And I saw an advert for a diversity and inclusion officer on 45 grand a year. I would be questioning, the next time my council tax went up, I would be questioning where that money was going. And this is the kind of stuff that Trump has just come out and said,
stone dead.
We're killing that. We are stopping that. Yep. Why can't we just do that?
And America will be so productive within the next 2 years because of that, because they will have workers that are genuinely there to be the best and not
Aren't
to
they
tick a
doing
box.
that? Aren't they there
And not
anyway?
to tick a
Aren't
box.
they genuinely the best they've got anyway?
Not here, no. As
I mean,
you've seen,
you're talking about
the
America.
adverts
How
went
can it
up.
change?
His vote went up amongst the black population and
the Hispanic vote,
population.
exactly.
He was appealing across the board.
And
on
whenever
this sort of
someone
stuff.
who is an ethnic minority, who I should rephrase that, who happens to be an ethnic minority, goes and gets a job in whatever position, every single person will unequivocally be able to say, you've got that on merit.
Exactly.
You have not got that off the basis of some box-ticking exercise. And I do wonder whether or not people might appreciate that. Anyway, look, another lively start, so thank you very much. Now, Westminster City Council have been on. They've told GB News Westminster City Council's recruitment policies are industry standard, entirely consistent with UK employment law, and have been in place for a number of years. In keeping with many public sector and private companies, we are committed to ensuring global majority candidates can compete for a range of roles and actively promote ourselves as an employer committed to equality and inclusion. Can I just suggest, if you're going to simultaneously use the phrase global majority... You're woke. Right, well, yeah, you are, but also, does that not make white people the global minority?
Yes.
And then in that case, if we're looking at it globally, then, should you not have jobs only available to white people? Anyway, they've gone on. This role will be offered in open and fair competition, as is every other role advertised by the council.